Good afternoon, Master Tanaka. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Elena. I am Master Jesus, and I am here to bring some orientations. Inside each being, the energy of God is always pulsating. When each being becomes aware of this factor, this energy gains its strength. Because observe, within your life, it is you who determines where you will direct your strength. When you determine to direct your strength to this presence that it is in you, which you know here as the divine I Am presence, then this presence manifests and manifests with the intensity of the strength you direct to it. To understand how this step brings about a change in your whole life, it is, of course, necessary to experience it. Often, what you will realize is that you have a desire of your own. And this desire of your own, many beings will not let go. This is why we speak to all of you, to address the desire to this divine I Am presence, and allow it with your consent to act, to make the desire a pathway into your life. Within all of life, as we have spoken, you determine the paths you will take. You may say, but isn't life only one path? I can tell you that life is a path. And on this path, you make the orientation that you want. That is why we say that many paths lead to the same point. Because these paths, these routes, it is you who determine them. Within a consciousness, you can ask me, Master Jesus, how do I make my consciousness fuller? How do I make my consciousness closer even to that of the Master Jesus? Because when I have been here studying some books, when I have been here even accessing some files that date back to very old dates, and they start to orient step by step that Master Jesus had here on earth, how do I make this knowledge become part of my knowledge? How do I make this knowledge become part of my being? When you have for that desire to trace even the same path that I traced, of course adapted for your age, but when you have the desire to follow the same path that I, Jesus the Christ, walked here while I was incarnated on earth, what should the first step be? To surrender everything to God, because within my being, this was a very well-established factor. There was not the self-will factor overriding the will of God. What was always prevailing in my being was the will of God, because in my understanding, this divine will was fuller. This divine will was what comprised all the understanding, all the compassion, all the kindness, all the unconditional love. It is what really brought peace to my being. That's why within my entire journey, what has always guided me is the will of God. From this point on, what happens? You begin to follow this will. You start to accept that this will guides your steps. Many may say to me, Master Jesus, but we are in different ages. But I say to all of you, it doesn't matter. What you say is an era in a time that does not make any difference, because each one is adapted to the era he or she is living in. You are adapted to this age full of information, full of means of communication, full of all these electronic gadgets that lead you to an even broader way of communicating. So this being guided by the divine will, is independent of the era. For you to be guided by the divine will depends only on you. That is why when you come to have this understanding and you manifest this will, it comes true. And this divine will guide you exactly as it is needed within this era you are living in. That is why many times you read old scriptures, you read guidelines that were given as if they were from over 2,000 years ago, and you think that these guidelines, they don't fit your present time. But if you allow yourself to dive into these guidelines that I have been leading here through parables, what you will realize? That this guidance fits perfectly in your life. That this guidance, when you accept it and start living through it, it leads your whole being to a fuller, more even peaceful path. I'll put it this way. But don't think that this tranquility is because you will observe a world full of flowers. It is not this. This tranquility is because you are going to live within respect. And since you are respecting yourself and respecting everybody, then I do say that this path is more tranquil because it brings you all the understanding that is necessary for you to expand the words of God. For many beings, talking about God is still a taboo. But observe, it is also a taboo that it is inside you. So in order for you to speak God's words, in order for you to allow yourself to bring God's truth to all beings, first dive inside yourself and allow yourself to absorb this taboo. Within all words, there is energy. God's words, they can be constructed in the safest, even fullest way that you allow yourself. God's truth is not conducted within a single form. God's truth is conducted within your true intention to realize it. With this guidance, I say goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.